I want to talk a little bit about who I think Jesus was. And this is my personal thoughts. These are my suspicions. I can't say for sure whether this is true. Um, so, but this is what makes sense to me. And it's not something that everybody thinks. A lot of people think that Jesus was an apocalyptic prophet. I think that may have been who, aren't Christians. I think that may be a possibility, but this is who I think Jesus was. Please, this is my opinion. Um, and it might be wrong. So I'm not making this to try to offend you. I'm doing this just to share with you exactly where I'm coming from and what I think right now. And I could be wrong. I could change tomorrow. But if you're interested in what my mindset is on this, um, I want to have a chance to actually share it with you. I think Jesus was a man who had good intentions. I think Jesus was somebody who looked at the Jewish law and looked at the way that it was exercised and was very deeply saddened by it and really, really wanted to change it. If you look at the New Testament, the Old Testament law, if I look at the Old Testament law, it looks very disturbing. It looks like something that I wouldn't want to force on anybody. And it seems like Jesus didn't want certain parts of it forced on other people too. He saw it as too restrictive. He saw it as too rule bound, I think, with like small little rules, too many of them adding up. And he wanted people to love each other. And he wanted people to get past those rules and just care about each other and love each other. And so that's the message I think that he was preaching. There's different things I can say to that. Um, when he says eye for an eye, tooth, you have heard it was said eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, but I say to you, do not resist an evil person. If you go to the original text there, it says very specifically, show no pity, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. So if somebody actually showed pity as Jesus was advocating, they would be breaking the Old Testament law. So I think that goes directly against Old Testament law, and I think Jesus did that a few times. And it's something that bothered me as a little bit as a Christian too. Jesus said that he came to show the deeper meaning of the law, but yet some of the things he says seem to go directly against what the law states, word for word. Um, so I can see why the Pharisees and Sadducees would be upset. But I think Jesus was upset because he saw this religion and he saw what this was doing to people's lives. And he saw that people were being burdened by it and that there was room for self-righteousness within it. I think those money changers at the temple were just people going to work, doing their jobs, following their religion. And Jesus got upset because he was upset with the fact that these people were taking money from innocent individuals. When I don't think, and I know you disagree with this probably, but I don't think they were doing anything against the old law. They were just doing their jobs, and Jesus was upset with the way that religion was exercised. He came to preach love because he thought that was a better message. This is what I think. And I think that was a good message. Now, he also believed in the end of the world, which, and I know this is controversial, but a lot of other cult leaders, David Koresh, um, Charles Manson, so on, also used this threat that it was the end of the Heaven's Gate cult, also used this threat that it was the end of the world. Um, those individuals who drank the Kool-Aid, and laced with cyanide and died, also thought that it was the end of the world. And that's what their leaders taught. And I think Jesus did that as well. Um, to give people a sense, and I think he did it to give people a sense of urgency, you know, that you need to love each other, you need to care about each other. And I like a lot of that message. There's some of it that I think has been misused, like turn the other cheek. I think that's been used to silence people who are oppressed and say that they don't have a right to speak up and talk about what they're going through. Um, do not worry about your life. I think that's been used to, get people's minds off of their everyday concerns, things that maybe they should be concerned about. Um, Maybe not worried about, but at least concerned about, more than seems to be advocated there to me. And I know you disagree with this, but this is my opinion, what I see when I look at this text. So I think Jesus has strong intentions, and I think Jesus was genuinely looking for God. I think he may have actually thought that he was God's son, and he prayed to God a lot, and he tried to communicate with God quite a bit, and he may have believed it so genuinely that he inspired some faith healing, which has actually been done. Hypnotists have actually been able to um, heal people, um, if they can set the moment right. And I think Jesus may have been sincere enough for some things that may have looked extraordinary to the people at the time to appear to have happened. But I do think he was a man like you and me. He was just a man with, I think, with very strong convictions. And I think on the cross when he said, my God, why have you forsaken me?" He was distressed because he had tried so hard to please God, and he felt let down at the end. This is what I suspect. There's a lot of problems with the Gospels themselves, so I don't think they're reliable. But when I browse over it, I think maybe this is what happened. And when he said it was finished, perhaps it really was finished. And then I think Joseph of Arimathea came, and he had a lot of affinity for Jesus' message, because the Bible says that he was a follower of Jesus even after Jesus died. So he had a lot of affinity for Jesus' message. The Jesus' message of love and his revision of the Jewish law. He thought it was healthy. He thought it was a good thing. He thought it was an improvement on all the law, rules, and regulations, and the Pharisees and the Sadducees and so on. And he wanted to change things, and he felt very strongly about it. And so he went and demanded Jesus' body, made sure he wrapped it up, as Mark says, made sure it was put in the tomb, and so on, rolled the stone in front of it himself, and arranged the circumstances because he was a rich enough man to pay off the guards by which the body would be stolen. I think the disciples may have hallucinated or had an after-death communication. Thousands of these happened every single year. Um, and again, I don't think the Gospels are very reliable in the way that they present things. So all of that is suspect. All of that I don't know for sure. Um, but I think some people are concerned about my attitude towards Jesus. I think he loved people. I think he cared about people. I think that he maybe have had some ideas that weren't true about himself. I think some of his words are useful, just like some of most men's words are useful. I think some of his words have damaged culture and crippled um, individuals in the way that they've tried to uh, operate in the world. But I don't hate him. I don't have a vendetta against him. I'm not shaking my fist at him. I just think he was wrong. He was somebody with good intentions that was wrong. That's what I think. And I've been there. I'm probably here right now. So I don't hate people in those positions. It's not a personal attack. It's sometimes people are right, sometimes people are wrong. Sometimes I may be right, sometimes I may be wrong. I may be wrong all the time. But the best I can do is be honest with myself and be honest with the way that I'm looking at the world and be honest with other people. And in the midst of that honesty, try to make the world the best place I can make it in the best way I know how. And that's what I'm trying to do. I hope you can understand that. Thanks.